Welcome to Massage Chair Relief Live, the podcast designed to educate, inform, discuss, and critique the relatively new massage chair industry. Join your host, Dr. Alan Widener, to become a massage chair expert and avoid multiple pain points in your search for the perfect massage chair.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Widener from Massage Chair Relief, and today is our bi-weekly massage chair industry update for Thursday, August 21st, 2025. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video, this industry update. Well, tariffs. Apparently the tariffs are on a 90-day hiatus right now. The whole process of tariffs with China, anyways, and I know that they're negotiating something right now to end the tariff war with China. People that I've talked to in the industry, in our industry, have expected it to kind of settle down at around 30%. So we've had numbers since this started from 20% up to 254%. And apparently the general vibe is that we're probably going to end up at around 30% tariffs. And of course, now when you understand tariffs, the factory in China is going to take some of that on their shoulders. The distributor is going to carry some of it, and the retailer is going to carry some of it. There will be still a crossover to the customer, or it'll reflect in the customer's pricing, but it's not going to be 30%. The 30% is from the factory to the end product or to the end consumer. There's all along the way. There's parts of it getting eaten up. So by the time it hits the consumer, it might be a 5% increase in price. So don't because you got to remember that the 30% tariff, or whatever the tariff is charged by at the U.S. port for the product coming through to the distributor, and that the cost of that is going to be based on the tariff is going to be based on the cost that the distributor is paying for the product. And of course, we know that the distributors pay less for the product, and then they sell it to retailers such as myself, and then we pay a portion of it, and then they pass it on to the distributors will pass on the pricing to the consumer. So by the time that comes, and the factories also decreased pricing, so the tariff won't be as huge for the distributor when it comes into the U.S. ports. So you're getting a 30% that'll be slowly whittled down from the factory to the distributor to the retailer to the customer, and I think so far we've seen anywhere from 5 to 10% increase in pricing. So don't think that your prices are going to go up 30%. Your retail prices, they won't. That is the end product of the tariffs price increase. Most of it being eaten along the way. I hope that makes sense. But anyways, it's important to understand the tariffs thing, because people will think, oh, the tariffs, America's charging 30% on Chinese products. Well, they are charging 30% on the factory's product, and that product price is way less than what the consumer is going to be ending up paying at the end. So they're paying 30%. An example, let's say a chair costs $5,000, and the factory sells it for $1,000 or $1,500 to the. Let's use 1,000 for round numbers, and that is what the 30% is paid on. That $1,000. So that'd be an additional $300. Well, then that is going to that 30% that the distributor paid for the $1,000 massage chair now is going to be passed on to the retailer, where now we are going to be paying maybe 15% more, 10% more, and then that's going to be passed on. So now the distributor's just recouping some of their money from paying the 30% from the retailers, and then they're going to increase the price to the consumer at the end, at the tail end of it. So that 30% might end up just being, whatever, 5 or 10% of the $5,000 chair. So you're looking at maybe $250 to $500 increase in the price of the chair. So, and I hope that made sense, but it's a kind of a trickle down effect from the factory to the distributor to the retailer to the buyer. Okay. We've got some new models that have come out recently, and it always seems to be new models popping up here and there, and most of them are coming from Osaki Titan, and they have a couple of new models. One I want to talk about these two models, but also the trend with the leg and foot massagers. It seems to be a little trend right now. Body Friend came out with a chair a while back. It's called the Phantom Rovo, and they also have a Phantom Rovo, and they also have the Falcon Robo. And that chair has the ottoman that goes up and down is two separate legs. So now one leg can come up and the other leg can go down, and vice versa. And the benefit of that is creating motion in the hips and the legs, but also the idea is that it's supposed to stretch the hip flexors, the piriformis muscles. Oh, sorry, not the piriformis muscles, the iliopsoas muscles. Well, we sat in one earlier, and it didn't really feel like it was pulling on the iliopsoas at all. So I wouldn't count it as a hip flexor stretch, but it is at least a motion that does move the hip flexor, and it does move the leg muscles. Of course, they're not actively engaged, like you're not walking, but it is lifting your legs up and down, and it is affecting the musculature in a more passive way. Well, the Osaki's come out with the new the Trion Flex Duo, Trion, and that has the legs that go up and down. So Body Friend kind of had a monopoly on that technology for quite some time, and now it looks like Osaki's got a similar technology. I'm sure it's all patented to some degree, or registered, or trademarked, or whatever. But now they've got that one called the Trion, the Trion Flex Duo, which when it says Duo, it means that there's a dual track. So there's an upper track and a lower track, separated by a flex feature or a split feature, but on the SL track, and you'll have separate rollers up and down. But that Osaki Trion is the first departure from the original Body Friend chair, and so we'll see more and more of that. But also, what's another couple of things that I've seen lately, there's a new chair called the Osaki Achilles, and now a new Daiwa chair called the Rumba. And those chairs now have the feet moving in particular directions, around, kind of tilting one side or the other and up and down. So it's more of a foot massage, and not just foot massage, but foot passive motion, like the legs in the Trion. The legs are going up and down passively. You're not moving your legs. The chair is doing it for you. Well, now some of these chairs will now start moving your ankles and moving your feet. So it's kind of interesting to see how the chairs continue to evolve. I still haven't seen a chair that has quad or the front of your thigh massage yet, but I'm sure they're working on it. And I think I've even seen a design of a prototype, but I don't know how old the prototype is and the design is, and I don't know if it's actually anywhere close to being marketable. But we are seeing some changes in the way that the chairs are being designed. So it's because there's nothing more frustrating to me than in my showroom having 10 of the same style of chair. They all have split track, all have 2 rollers and 2 rollers, or 4 and 4, or 4 and 2, or 2 or 4, and then at all priced around the same price point. It can get confusing for the customer, and they can sit on 10 chairs and I've seen this in the showroom where they just get overwhelmed. It's like, I got to come back. I got to sit down because I'm too confused by all these split tracks in the same price point. They even kind of look the same. The bodies are very similar. So bringing in new technology is great, but it gets hyper used or hyper promoted, and more companies come out with their version of it, and it becomes a little more confusing for the consumer. So a tip to those who are actually experimenting with chairs and experiencing different types of chairs, sit on them. If you're in a showroom like our showroom or any showroom, and you sit on a chair and you don't like it right away, don't stay on it any longer. Because if you're sitting in our showrooms, we've got like 15 to 20 chairs. You can't sit on all 20 chairs and spend 20 minutes on each one. It's going to take you forever to go through them. And besides that, you're going to feel like a beat up hockey player by the time you're done, because your back can only take so much. So spend time in the chairs. Like if you sit in a chair that you say, hey, I like this chair, stay in that a little bit longer, get a feel for it, and then move on to the next chair. Don't sit there for 20 minutes because you're going to get overwhelmed, and then your mind will become clouded. It's like shopping for perfume or cologne. you smell all these different scents, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's all the same to me now. So what do they do at a department store? They give you like coffee beans, the smell of coffee beans, and it clears your senses, so you can go back to smelling the colognes or the perfumes to get the one that you like. Well, it's the same with massage chairs. You sit on them, a lot of them at one go, you're going to need a break. And so often, we'll get some pizza from the place next door, feed our guest, and make sure that they're getting their head cleared from all the input from the massage chairs. And that's particularly for people who are spending 3-4 hours, which is not uncommon. And they spend 3-4 hours. They want to try out the chairs. And then after they have a bit of a break, then we go back and try out maybe their top 2 or 3. And that's what I would recommend you do. Try out a bunch of chairs, immediately rule out the ones you don't like. Don't sit in it to learn to like it. It's a comfort thing. You'll sit in it and you'll feel right away, oh, this fits my body. Oh yeah, and the massage feels good, and whatever, it hits all the spots I need. And those are the ones you want to narrow it down to. Don't torture yourself on chairs that you don't really feel are right for you, or don't feel good when you sit in them. And then you can kind of triage your way through the chairs and narrow it down to 2 or 3 that you really like. And then you take a break. And maybe that means having a bottle of water, snacking on some treats, and you can do this at our showroom, or the manager will get some pizza from the place next door, and that'll give you a chance to kind of take your mind off of what you're feeling and just kind of enjoy the food and kind of give your body a break, walk around a little bit, and then sit down again. Sit down on the top 2 or 3, and then you'll find they may even feel a little bit different the second time you sit on them. But then you'll kind of be able to narrow it down. Okay, this is the one I want. This is the one. So that's just those are just some tips for those of you who are shopping. And now, if you're lucky enough to have stores in your area where you can sit on multiple models, good for you. If you only have one model at your disposal or 2 models, it's pretty simple. And if you're going to pick from those 2 and not go out and try to find other ones, well then, and if you don't like both of them, well then you're going to think that massage chairs suck and they're not for you. But there's so many other chairs out there. We've had countless people that have come into our showroom and said, yeah, we sat on a chair and we really didn't like it. And then they had tried another model, didn't like it. So we're not sure if you've got anything different. But as of now, the massage chair is not really the thing that we're looking for. But we'll try out your chairs. And then they sit on another one and all of a sudden, bang, it just connects with them. So anyways, I'm kind of rambling on about something that I probably don't need to talk about as much as I do. But please don't be afraid to try different chairs, and don't be afraid to just kind of take a break for a few minutes, and don't sit on one for a while. Chit chat with the manager or the salesperson, and then go back and sit down again on them. By the way, the end of I forgot to mention this. The end of the next tariff reprieve is November 10th, from what I've been told. So I forgot that. I just noticed that on my notes. If you want to know, we should know, not if you want to know, but we should all know at the end of this reprieve, which ends in November, what the final tariff deal is going to be. Okay. I want to talk to you a little bit about reviews. Now, everybody looks at reviews, right? And the reviews are becoming more and more important. And reviews are important to us, to me, to people that want to buy a chair from us, or buy, review about a chair model or about a company. And those reviews are crucial. Well, here's the problem. There are manipulated reviews out there, and they're either manipulated by people paying you or paying someone to give a review. Like a professional review from a professional writer. Then there's reviews that I don't know, like the company that is trying to sell the chair will have, their cronies or their neighbors or their employees write reviews. And of course, all the reviews are fantastic. And by the way, and I have been preaching this I've been in this business for over 2 decades, and it is the same bloody thing. If you see a chair or a company that has 100%, 5 out of 5, best chair ever, best company ever, 100%, don't believe it. Okay. And I don't mean to sound cold or crass, But not everybody does everything perfect. There's not one chair that fits every single person right. Now you'll read positive reviews, and that's great. You'll see reviews that are videos, and you'll see reviews that are audio testimonials. And I'm not saying those aren't correct. I'm not saying those aren't genuine, real reviews. But just know that there's manipulation in the review business. We were introduced to a software. It was an app back in the day. This is like over 10 years ago, an app called Fake Spot, like fake SPOT. And you could use this app, and I understand now it's a browser extension, and you can put it on your browser. You can have the app, and you can go to specific sites, including our site, and they will grade your reviews. And so they have an algorithm, and I don't know exactly what all the components of the algorithm are, but FakeSpot will give you a grade from A to F, and that'll give you an idea of the general vibe of that site and the vibe of that company, and the vibe of those chairs. About the reviews, based on the reviews, if those are really good or not. So be careful. We had an experience with a customer who came in to our showroom. They had put a deposit down on another chair for another company, a chair that we do not represent, a brand we don't represent by choice. And this is one of the reasons why. So this customer came in it was a Southern California customer that came in from Central California. They drove out all the way to our showroom. They went to they had put $100 down on a chair from this other company, and it's their own massage chairs. The distributor, it's a direct to consumer seller, and they came to our showroom. Oh, the first thing they did was they put $100 down, and then they came to the LA area to go try out their chair, but they couldn't get in. They didn't schedule an appointment. The place was closed. They couldn't even try the chair out. So while they were in LA, they did a Google search and came to our showroom, and they started sitting on some chairs, and the gal fell in love with one of our chairs. Well, what happened next, and this has been quite a while ago. I'm trying to remember, make sure I don't screw up the facts too much. But what they basically did was they bought the chair from us, and they contacted that massage chair company and asked for their $100 back. Well, they were livid, and they said, "Well, it's not refundable. It's a non-refundable deposit." And she said, "That's not what you told me when I put the money down on the phone or wherever, however it was that she initiated that purchase." And they would not give her the $100 back, but they offered to give her their top of the line chair for no. Yeah, they offered to give her the top of the line chair for free some days later, after they would not give her the $100 back. And she said, "I don't want your chair. I want my $100 back." And finally, they acquiesced and gave her the $100 back. But it took like a month to get it, and for them to say, "Yes, we'll give you your $100 back." Well, and of course, for someone like me who has a 90-day return policy, no questions asked, it doesn't. It's so foreign to me in terms of customer support and customer service to not give a $100 deposit back that was originally promised to be non-refundable or refundable, and now is non-refundable. Well, that's not the half of the story. What happened now is she went on Yelp and wrote a scathing review of the way they treated her, how they kind of treated her with disdain for wanting to return to cancel her order and get her $100 back. And then it took this much time to get it done. And then they wanted to bribe her by saying, "Hey, listen, can you, oh no, this is where they didn't offer the free chair originally." Okay. See, I should have checked I should have gone through this old mind of mine to get this straight. What happened was it took a month to get her $100 back. Then she wrote the review, and the review was not kind to this company. And they reached out to her right away. Of course, we know when bad reviews are written about us. We don't like them, but we know when they're written. And, a good company will say, "All right, you know what? We got to change our policy so this doesn't happen again, or, we don't do this again, or whatever." Well, what they did was they reached out to her and they said, "Listen, we're sorry that you feel the way that you did, and you wrote your review. We'd like to offer you a free chair with free in-home delivery if you will retract the review. Well, she said no. She said, you're trying to bribe me to take back something that is something that very real to me, which is my review, and I'm not going to retract it. Well, then they threatened her. They threatened her because they said stuff like, well, we know your name, we know what your address is, we know what your phone number is, and we know where you live. That's basically what they said to her. And it was so flabbergasting to her, she couldn't believe that this was coming from a massage chair salesman or a massage chair company. Well, she would not take the review back. Well, you know what they did? That company complained to Yelp saying that she was a paid review writer and she was paid by another massage chair company to write this review and to diss their company and make them look bad. It was not true. I was part and parcel of this experience, and she wrote the review on her own. We never told her to write a review. We told her to get her $100 back. Well, what they eventually did was they basically treated her review like a spam review, like it was written by some paid shill. And she was so upset by that that she wanted to go further and create more grief for this company who was giving her so much grief. So eventually what Yelp did was they basically treated her review like it was a paid or a bad or a sponsored review and not a true review. And they put it down. If you see Yelp, you'll have the reviews that they like and the reviews that they approve. And then down at the bottom, you'll see some grayed out ones, like they're kind of grayed and shaded out. And that's where they put her review. And it was a great review. It was an honest review of being poorly treated. So that's an example of, I'm getting fired up. You can tell I get fired up about some things. This is one of the things I get fired up about. Well, she eventually just let it go. And so my review isn't showing up on Yelp, so people aren't going to benefit from my experience. But you know what? There are companies out there that will do anything to get rid of a bad review, including bribing you or threatening you. And so that's how reviews can be manipulated. She was manipulated. Her review was manipulated, but not by her, by the company that she wrote the review about. And I have no respect for that company. And then when they started trying to sell their product through regular retailers like us, all my staff, and we all knew what happened, especially the manager of the Southern California store, they said, no way, there's no way we want to carry that chair or that company's product. And so be careful of reviews. I'm not saying they're all bad, but take them with a grain of salt. Maybe use something like FakeSpot or the review. There's some other, if you Google review softwares on Google, you'll find there's a bunch of them. Well, when I say a bunch, I think 4 or 5 that I saw. And you can check reviews. Try the FakeSpot browser extension. You can use that on our website. You can use it on any website. You can use it on Amazon. You can use it on Walmart. You can use it on Best Buy, and you can find out how those companies are rated for their reviews. And if you're getting a score like C or D or F, just like in school, those are not great grades. And you might want to think twice about relying on those reviews. So anyways, that's reviews. Now, geez, I should talk about Better Business Bureau. Well, Better Business Bureau is a place that people go to read reviews, right? Well, 2 things to consider. How do you know when you go on to Better Business Bureau and you type in the name of the company that's distributing the chair, and the name doesn't come up anywhere. But they say on their website that they're a Better Business Bureau and they're rated A+. Well, some companies, like and I've used this analogy before. Let's say you call it Monarch massage chairs, and that's the name that people are buying from, Monarch. And they can't find Monarch on Better Business Bureau, and this is just a fake name. I don't know if there's such a thing as Monarch massage chairs. Well, the company that owns Monarch is ABC, ABC Incorporated, and that's the company, and that's what's on the Better Business Bureau. But that is not. You don't know that because they don't divulge that information to their customers. It's something that you might have to really dig around and get somebody to find for you, but it's hard to find what the name of the mother company is. And that's why they have A+, because nobody can find their bloody Better Business Bureau listing. And so sometimes they do this kind of sneaky stuff so they can't get bad reviews. But the second thing is, sometimes you'll find them and they'll be like sick. I remember talking to one customer who said, yeah, I did a Better Business Bureau search on this company, and their score was okay, and they had every one of their complaints was resolved. Every one of their complaints was resolved. That's a red flag. What did it take for you to piss off a customer so much and not take care of them over the course of who knows how many months that you had to go to the Better Business Bureau to try to get some answers? And then it got resolved. So my question is, if a company has a lot of complaints, but they're all resolved, they're complaints nonetheless. And it means that the customer was not taken care of when it was just between you and the massage chair company or whatever company. This applies to any business. And they have to go to Better Business Bureau or go to the state or whatever because of they're not getting taken care of at all. And in many cases, just completely ignored. I know one company in particular that went under because they could not support their chairs, and the customers were not happy about it. And it ended up in being a complete avalanche of negative publicity for this company. And I believe they shut their doors just a couple of years ago. But reviews are important, but even the fact that a complaint from a customer that leaves a review on Better Business Bureau gets resolved, why did it take going to the Better Business Bureau to get your problem taken care of? And you know what? Here's the other thing. If it's a recurrent problem, why don't you fix your policy? And when I'm saying I'm talking about the massage chair company. Why don't you fix your policies so that you don't have these problems in the future? Take a review for what it is. We've had some bad reviews over the years. I've been in business a long time, and we get bad reviews, and some of them are justified, some of them are not. But whatever it is, I'm going to make it right. I've got to make it right, because that review hurts me, and I don't want any future people to leave those kinds of reviews. So we have made changes in our policies and our customer support protocols and everything to make sure that this is resolved and we don't have to deal with this again, because it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing when you get a bad review and everybody can read it, and we're not calling them saying, please remove the review. We'll give you a chair. We don't do that. We're just going to take it and take the pain that comes with it and change our policy and make sure that it doesn't happen again. That's what we try to do. And that's what most companies do. But there's a few rotten eggs out there that'll just do everything to twist your arm to either give a review or remove your review or retract it. So just realize the review business is a big business, because everybody reads reviews, and you want to know if you can trust those reviews, right? Right. So, all right, I've pontificated enough on that. I hope you found this video helpful. There's a lot of tips and a lot of suggestions in my videos, and sometimes they're well received, other times they're not. But I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please feel free to thumbs up, like us on our YouTube channel, and help us spread the word about massage chairs by sharing this video or any of our videos with your friends and family through your social media platforms. I'm Dr. Alan Widener from Massage Chair Relief, and I'm going to see you again on the next video. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Massage Chair Relief Live podcast. Subscribe to this podcast and be notified of each episode. Check out our main website at massagechairrelief.com for much more valuable information on the massage chair industry and marketplace.